Jerry Holman. Hold on here. Hold on here. I'm just going to show you something. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Yes. If I'm going to have Holman reading something from him, I'm going to act as Detective Holman's third cousin by inbred marriage, Arthur Holman. You may call me A.Holeman. Oh, I'm having way too much fun with that. Way too much fun with that. Witness Thorn. Direct examination of Lieutenant Jerry Holman. Question by Mr. McLellan. Will you state your name, please? Jerry Holman. Holeman. And how are you employed? With the Indiana State Police. And how long have you been employed in that capacity? It'll be 22 years in June. I have no idea how Holman sounds. And did you go through special training or education to become a law enforcement officer? Yes, I did. Can you tell me about that, please? I went through the Indiana State Police Academy. I graduated. I started January 2001 and graduated in June of 2001. And are you familiar with the state of Indiana versus Richard Allen? Yes, I am. Are you an investigator who participated in the investigation of that case? Yes, I am. I just got a pop-up that I'm offline. People, tell me if you can still hear me and see me. Okay. Yep. You're here. Yep. You're still here. Okay. I get that pop up every now and then. Yep. You can hear and see me. Yeah. All right. Let's continue. And I want to take you back to October of the beginning of October of 2023. Do you recall that time? Yes, I do. And what happened in the beginning of October of 2023? I received a phone call from you stating that you had received information from Becky Patty, who is the grandmother and legal guardian of Liberty German, that crime scene photos were being leaked. And once you were told of that information, what did you do next? I started inquiring on what type of photos were leaked and tried to find out where they were being leaked from. And what did you do first to go about finding out that information? Well, I received a phone call from Kane and Kevin Greenlee, who said they have also received the photos, and they described those photos to me over the phone. Well, when those photos were described to you, were you familiar with the photos they were talking about? Yes, I was. How were you familiar with those photos? One of the descriptions of the photos was one that Mr. Baldwin and Mr. Rossi showed me in my deposition. And why was it unique enough that you could tell the photo from a description? It was a side-by-side that I never seen before that day, and it was created obviously by the defense attorneys. And I recall seeing it that day, and that's the only time I've ever saw that photo. And so from the description of those individuals you talked to, You recognized the photo was something the defense had created? Yes. What did you do next? I believe I called back to you to let you know that it was more than just what Betty Patty had told you. And from there, where did the investigation lead you? I talked to, again, Ain Kane and Kevin Greenlee, who said that they knew who sent them the photos. And who sent them the photos? Mr. Cohen. And did you speak to Mr. Cohen? Later, I did. Mr. Hennessy, objection, hearsay, violation of the right to confrontation. The court overruled. Did you speak to Mr. Cohen? I did later. But before that, I got information from Ain and Kevin. They said that Mr. Hold on, let me. Mr. Hennessy, objection. What did he say? The court, did you stop him there? Mr. McClelland, yes. And when you spoke to Ain and Kevin, did you get documents from them? Yes. What documents did you get from them? They gave me several documents. There were screenshots that they received from Mr. Cohen with communication with Mr. Forson. Okay. Did you receive any pictures from them? Yes. And what pictures did you receive from them? The pictures that they stated that Mr. Cohen sent them. And when you got the pictures from them, did you recognize the photos? Yes, I did. And I don't want you to go into detail, but what were the photos of? Some of them were of the crime scene that, again, I knew had to come from the defense attorney because one of them was of Liberty and her private part was blacked out, and they used the circle, and in all the ones that we ever used for any type of reason, we used rectangles. I'm going to show you what's been marked as Defendant's Exhibit 5, State's Exhibit 5. Mr. Hennessy, yeah, there you go. Can you take a look at those documents, please? And can you tell the court what those documents are? The first one is a picture. No, just as a group. I'm sorry. Oh, it was a bad question. Can you tell the court as a group what those documents are? Photos are received from Kevin and Ain. And what do those photos show? Crime scene photos. Some of them are pictures of drawings of the crime scene. And do you recognize those photos? Yes, I do. And how do you recognize those photos? Again, they're crime scene photos and also photos that were presented to me in my deposition. Judge, I'm going to ask the court to admit what's been marked as State's Exhibit 5. I'm going to ask the court to admit those on the seal. They are graphic crime scene photos. I did not transmit those to defense. I told Mr. Hennessy I was not going to transmit those to him. Mr. Hennessy, let's see them. Mr. McClelland, I'm more than happy to have them look at those, but I would like those filed on the seal, Judge. The court under objection. Mr. Hennessy, Judge, yeah, I need to see them. Mr. McClelland, let me look at them. I never received copies because I didn't want to, because I don't want to be sitting accused of contempt. I have no reason to object to them being placed on the seal. The court, all right, I will show 5 is admitted without objection, and I will seal. No, I need to see the exhibit. You asked if I objected to them being sealed. I got to make sure that this is what I was shown before because they weren't given. The court, show me the photos, please. Mr. Hennessy, no objection, please. Judge. The court, all right, I'll show 5 is admitted without objection, and without objection, 5 will be sealed. Now, Mr. Holman, if you recall, were those all the photos that you received from Miss Kane? Sorry, the individuals, Kane and Ain? No. Okay. Those are just the ones we admitted are just a portion of those. Yes. Okay. And again, the ones specifically of the crime scene depicting Liberty, was that something that law enforcement created? No. And how did you know that? Like I said earlier, we use rectangles to block out the private parts. And that one had one rectangle and a circle. So I knew it was not produced by any of us. When you saw that photo, did you recognize it though? Yes. Where did you recognize it from? It was a crime scene photo that was used and was taken from the scene. Was it also presented to you in a deposition? I believe so, yes. Same questions with the side-by-side photos that showed Abby. Did you? Is that something that law enforcement created? No. Did you recognize the photo? Yes. How did you recognize it? It was shown to me in the deposition by Mr. Baldwin and Mr. Rossi. Once you got those photos, what did you do? Once you got the photos and the information from Kevin and Ain, what did you do from here? From there? I notified you again of the photos, and that was my thought there were, and then I scheduled a time to meet with Ain and Kevin to take a statement and receive all the information that they got from Mr. Cohen. And as part of the information, the documents that you got from them during that interview, did those include screenshots of messages? Yes. And who were the messages between Mr. Cohen and Mr. Forson? How did you know they were between Mr. Cohen and Mr. Forson? Well, I saw the Facebook pictures of Mr. Forson and Mr. Coleman told me they were. So you were able to identify from the messages Mr. Forson? Yes. I'm going to show you what's been marked at States Exhibit 6, I believe. Are you familiar with that bundle of documents? Yes, I am. And how are you familiar with that bundle of documents? Those are documents that I received from Mr. Greenlee and Mrs. Kane. And can you describe what those documents are? Not the content of them, but what they are. There are screenshots of communications between Mr. Forson and Mr. Cohen on Facebook. And how do you know that? Because I'm familiar with Facebook. And it says Robert Forson, and then it's also identifying Mr. Cohen. And do those accurately represent the documents that you received from Ayn and Kevin? Yes. Mr. McLellan, Judge, the state would like to admit what's been marked as States Exhibit 5. The court, 6. Mr. McLellan, 6. Mr. Hennessy, 6. Mr. McLellan, I'm sorry. Mr. Hennessy, preliminary questions, please. The court, yes. Mr. Hennessy, do you know how many pages is in 6? I do not. Mr. Hennessy, do you remember how many pages you received from the murder sheet people? Ooh. The murder sheet people. Yeah, we know about those. I don't know the exact number now. And then, so State Exhibit 6 reveals conversations between two people. Yes. Is Mr. Forson deceased? Pardon me? Mr. Hennessy, is Mr. Forson deceased? Yes, he is. Judge, I would like to object on hearsay. It's impossible for the defense to be able to cross-examination and confront the speakers. This is clearly communications between two people, neither of whom are available for cross-examination. The court, any response? Judge, the state does not believe it's hearsay. It's not going to the truth of the matter of the contents in the statements. It's going to show that there was a conversation and that there was a continued leak. That's just, of course, if they're trying to claim it goes to a continued leak, then the information in them have to be truth. If the court does deem it hearsay, I believe there's an exemption. If the court reads through the documents and reads through the statements in the document, there are several messages where Forson says or asks Cohen to protect him from distributing the information. So he's already admitting that it is for the truth of the matter. And to delete messages once he knows the investigation starts. And so it's clearly statements against his interest in terms of trying to delete those messages and hide the evidence. And so the state would ask to overrule the objection. The court, all right. How show 6 is admitted over objection? Mr. Hennessy, I'm sorry. I would also belatedly like to add relevance, because none of those conversations are connected to either Mr. Baldwin or Mr. Rossi. And there's no evidence or testimony that they were aware of the conversation, that they authored or authorized the conversations. So there's no connection to the two people that are shot with indirect contempt. Relevance. The court, you may proceed. So it's still over objection. Ms. McLellan, thank you, Judge. Question. What did you do next in the investigation? After receiving this information, like I said, I did an audio videotape statement of Mr. Kane or Mrs. Kane and Mr. Greenlee, and then I contacted Robert Cohen. And did you interview him as well? Yes. And after you interviewed him, what did you do next? After I interviewed Mr. Cohen, I believe I interviewed Mr. Rick Schnee. And between the interviews of those people, did you have an opportunity to go through the documents that were handed over to you? Yes. And the interviews that you conducted with those people, did it match the information that you saw in those documents? Yes, it did. After you talked to Mr. Schnee, what did you do next? Mr. Schnee advised me that he had received objection, hearsay. Mr. McLellan, it's okay. There was no ruling. There was no ruling. Who did you interview after Mr. Schnee? Kyra de Bruin. And through your investigation, did you continue to gather information on how the photo were leaked? Yes. Was that the purpose in interviewing these people, to determine the source? Yes. And once you saw the messages from Mr. Forson, did you attempt to interview him? Yes, I did. Did you attempt to interview him about the things in that document? Yes. And did he give you any information? No. Did you attempt to subpoena his Facebook records to get a certified copy of those documents? We did. And when you examined his Facebook page, were those messages in there? I did not examine his Facebook messages, but Detective Rector... Let's just call him Rector for the moment. There is the names. Okay. He would be better. And after you attempted to interview Forson, who did you interview next? I attempted to contact Mr. Westerman after I interviewed Mr. Forson. And so the information that you got from the investigation at this point, where did it tell you the leak was coming from? Mr. Westerman. Did you know who Mr. Westerman was? Not at the time, no. Okay. Did you investigate to find out who he was? I found out that he was... Mr. Hennessy, excuse me, preliminary question, please. The court, yes. Mr. Hennessy, when you said found out, did anyone tell you stuff? I did some investigation on my own. Mr. Hennessy, I'm sorry? I did some investigation on my own. Mr. Hennessy, yeah, but what did you investigate? I mean, did you read documents or talk to people? Yes. Okay, I'd object as derivative of hearsay denial of the right to confrontation. Any response? Judge, I don't think it's hearsay for him to tell the court how he found out who Mr. Westerman was. I just don't think that hearsay applies. The court, so it's course of investigation. Yes, Your Honor. Okay, then overruled. Mr. Hennessy, I'm sorry, what was the overruled? No, I got that. But what did the court say right before that? The court, he said it during the course of the investigation, how he got to where he got. Okay. Well, there's no course of investigation exception to the hearsay rule. There hasn't been for about 15 to 20 years. The court, I overruled the objection, sir. Yes, ma'am. For fuck's sake. Question. And through this process, did you tell me about your attempts that you made to talk to Mr. Forson directly? I attempted to call one of his phone numbers I had for him. I had two. And the first one said, "This is Robert Forson. Please leave a message." I left him a message, and I left him a message identifying myself as the state police, that I needed to talk to him about some information that came up in an investigation. And then I had another number. I did not know at the time, but it was actually to his father, Bob Forson. And I spoke to Mr. Bob Forson, and he said he worked at the Air Force Base, and that he'd probably be up there, and that he would call him and let him know to get in contact with me. And so on or about October 10th. Did you go to the Air Force Base and attempt to talk to Mr. Forson? Yes, I did. Did you gather any information from him? Very little. Did you ever attempt to get a hold of Mitch Westerman? Yes, I did. And does Mitch Westerman, through investigation, did you find out if Mitch Westerman had a connection to the defense, Mr. Rossi or Mr. Baldwin? I did. Tell me about that connection. He used to work for Mr. Baldwin as I'm not sure what he was employed as, but he used to work for Mr. Baldwin. Do you know if he's still employed by Mr. Baldwin? I do not believe he was, no. And that takes us to October 12th of 2023. What did you find out on October 12th? Yeah, they interviewed Keegan, Klein, and Forson at the Air Force Base. Isn't that strange? It's almost as if they had a connection. I received a phone call from a sergeant with the Fishers PD that Mr. Forson had committed self-ending. Yeah, right after Mr. A.Holeman had a conversation, Mr. Forson ended himself. At least that is what the medical examiner concluded. For you who just joined, I'm reading Mr. A.Holeman, Jerry A.Holeman, as his cousin, third cousin through inbred marriage. This here is Arthur A.Holeman, but you can call me A.Holeman. And were you able to gather any other information about the facts surrounding his self-ending? Vicious PD said it was obvious self-ending and that during a conversation with his wife, he was upset because of the photos that he leaked and that he wished he would just have been honest. Where's that fucking interview? Did you conduct any other investigation into his self-ending? No. Once your investigation was complete, were you able to determine the chain of how the photos were leaked? Yes. Can you tell me that? Mr. Hennessy, objection. Preliminary question. Was this based on stuff people told you? No, I don't believe so. Mr. Hennessy, was it based on documents that you read? Yes, more than likely. So basically, you're going to express your conclusion based on information. Yes. Provided by other people. Correct. Objection. Denial of right of confrontation. Hearsay. Mr. McLellan, again, Judge, this is through the course of an investigation. I'm trying to elicit from him a summary of what conclusion he found from his investigation into the leaked photos, Judge. Overruled. And so, Mr. A.Holeman, can you tell me from your investigation, what were you able to determine how the photos were leaked? I was able to determine that Mitch Westerman, who used to work for Mr. Baldwin, was also in the Air Force with Robert Forson prior. He wasn't at the time, but he was friends with Robert Forson through the Air Force. And it appeared to me through my investigation that he was sending information that he was getting directly from Mr. Baldwin to Mr. Forson. And Mr. Forson was putting that information out to other people. That's a lie, folks. Mr. A.Holeman here is lying to the court. What platform was Mr. Forson using to disseminate that information? He was using Facebook and also Reddit. And did Mr. Forson disseminate the crime scene photos that we previously admitted into evidence? Yes. And were you able to examine the contents of the conversation between Mr. Forson and Mr. Snay? Is that correct? Mr. Snay? Mr. Cohen, sorry, I'm getting confused. Mr. Cohen, yes. And from that conversation, were you able to determine whether this was a one-time leak of photos or an ongoing leak? Mr. Hennessy, objection. Based on hearsay, it's an opinion, not a fact, and he should not be allowed to testify to it. The court sustained on opinion. Question. Through the investigation into the Richard Allen case, did he interview a professor at Purdue by the name of Professor Turco? Yes. And you interviewed him in September of 2023, is that correct? That is correct. Why did you interview him at that time? During the deposition with Mr. Baldwin, I mentioned that we have received information from a Purdue professor, but I did not know his name. You did? So I found out who he was and found out that they had never technically been interviewed, so I went and interviewed him. Fuck you, A.Holeman. Fuck you all the way to hell. You interviewed him, and then you tried to bury it. And then you were caught, and then you re-interviewed him. Question. And you conducted that interview and then turned it over to be included in discovery for the defense, is that correct? Yes. And that interview was done in September of 2023? Yes. Isn't it weird, folks, that when they filed the Franks motion, which proved that Jerry A.Holeman was lying about the Purdue professor, all of a sudden they find all of these reasons to re-interview people. Isn't that weird? And then from your investigation, were you able to determine if Forson was talking about that interview? Yes, I did. And when he was talking about that interview, if you know? I know it was right after. Mr. Hennessy, I'm going to object. Will the court just show a continued objection to the testimony based on the conversation between two other people? The court, yes. Mr. Hennessy, Forson and Cohen, thank you. Question. So you were able to determine when Mr. Forson was talking about that interview between you and Professor Turco? It was within days. I don't know the exact date. I have to look. And was that information ever released to the public by you? No. Was that information to your knowledge? Was that information out to the public? No. Were there other instances during the course of your investigation where there are other instances that you found where Forson was releasing information that was only privy to defense? Yes. Yes. Mr. Hennessy, conclusion, asked that it be stricken. Sustained. Hey, thank you, Conrad Schmidt. Thank you. Gifted 5 memberships. Yay, that is so generous of you. And it went to, hey, it's Ariel, Texas Any Soundwave Waves, Cassandra Durkin, Victor Mann, and Meta with a long E. Mita. Oh, Mita. Thank you so much. Now you guys have access to all my members-only content. You have early access to the videos I'm publishing. And you have your own emojis here on YouTube. And yeah, I still have to submit a fresh link to members only to my Discord. And hi, Ambrosia over at Rumble saying, oh my God, I was just listening, running errands, and I'm just glanced at the screen. What is this? This is A.Holeman. He is third cousin by inbred marriage to Jerry Holeman. You can call me A.Holeman. Mr. Hennessy, because the answer came in so quick. I'm sorry. Sustained. Thank you. And stricken? Sure. Thank you. I don't have any other questions, Josh. Thank you. They got Mr. Hennessy. Thank you. Cross-examination of Lieutenant Jerry Holeman. Let's see if Holeman's memory is as good on cross-examination. Questions by Mr. Hennessy. Let me start where you stopped. So the Professor Turco report, the only time you've seen that is in this private discussion between Mr. Forson and Mr. Cohen. The only time I saw what? The only reference you testified to about the Professor Turco interview was in the conversation between two people, Forson and Cohen, correct? Yes. So you didn't see it publicly disseminated out on the internet? No, I did not. So that was just contained in that conversation? To my knowledge, yes. And then back to Westerman. In your report, you did a report of your investigation. Yes. On just this, what we'll call the leak investigation. I did, yes. And the original report was 33 pages. I believe you. I don't know exactly how long my actual report was because there were other people involved in it. If you... And then, say the original was 33 pages, Then, with the attachments, it turned out to be 272 pages. Yes. Okay, now in there, you placed Mr. Westerman's affidavit that was filed with the court. No, I don't know what you're talking about. You don't think you did? My affidavit? Westerman's affidavit was filed with this court. Have you ever seen it? Yes, yes. Okay, so you know that he took photos of stuff, but didn't take the actual stuff, discovery materials. That is correct. And Mr. Baldwin had no knowledge that he had done it. Yes. And that he did so without any authority for either Mr. Baldwin or Mr. Rossi. That's what he said, yes. And there is no evidence that Mr. Baldwin or Mr. Rossi authorized Mr. Westerman to share anything with anybody. That is correct. And then, were you involved in seeking the prosecution of Mr. Westerman? Yes. And then, so you had a conversation with Mr. Hamner, the elected prosecutor of Johnson County. I did. And that's where Mr. Baldwin's office was. Yes. And that's where Mr. Westerman purloined the, yes, by photographs, correct? Yes, sir. And then he passed it to a special prosecutor. He did. And then you also discussed seeking charges against Mr. Baldwin. I did. And none were ever filed. No, none were ever filed. And then, I wish I'd stop saying and then. So there's 5 photos that you received from the murder sheet people. There were more than that. Okay. But 5 in evidence. 5 that I believe were from the crime scene, yes? Yeah. Now, you said you recognize some of them from having viewed them at deposition by Mr. Baldwin and Rossi. Yes, sir. By the way, folks, the murder sheet people, why the fuck would the defense leak to them? Why? There's no reason for the defense to leak to them. On contrary, they would avoid at all cost to leak anything to the murder sheet people. Let's continue. When you saw the one that has the blackout, the circle, did that have blackouts at the deposition? Yes, I believe so. I'm sorry. And then you said something about a side-by-side. I did. Side-by-side of what? If you can say without revealing too much, because it's under seal. Sure, there was a side-by-side. Half the paper was a picture of Abigail, and the other was a picture of an asterisk. Of a who? Like an asterisk, like a star. Now, you talked about your attempt to get a statement from Mr. Forson. Yes, I did. And did you threaten him with jail? No. Do you remember giving a deposition on March 1st? I do. And have you reviewed it? I did. You had one. I didn't sign this because there was, what you say? I did not sign it because there was missing information and false statements in there. What you say? I did not sign it because there was missing information and had false statements. Incorrect. Well, yeah, I'll give you it was incorrect, but I don't know. False is a little strong. Incorrect. And it was a transcriber. And so when you received it, you had the positions before. Yeah. So when you received it, there was an errata sheet. Uh-huh. Correct. Did you? And then, so the process is, if you make mistakes, you go to the errata sheet, you correct them, and then you sign your errata sheet. I fill it out, but I told the prosecutor said there was a lot missing. So I don't know, it was just not transcribed, but I wasn't going to sign it because it was the first part of our deposition was missing. Right. Yeah. But the part that was there, you could have ascribed to. Sure. Okay. All right. Oh, may I have a moment? Sorry. I'll come back to that. Did you tell Mr. Forson that he could be held in contempt of court and or charged with obstruction of justice? Yes. Did you tell him you can get the judge on the phone immediately? No. You didn't say, quote, let me call the judge real quick. I did say I'm going to call the judge, yes. And you said, I'm going to call the judge, let her know, and see if she wants to issue an order of contempt, correct? Yes, sir. Then you went out of the room. I did. Did you call the judge? I did not. Did you tell Mr. Forson you could call the judge? So I'm in the military. No, you're a cop. You're not in the military anymore. So I have a chain of command. I was brought up that way. I called the prosecutor first. I've never done a contempt. So I thought I was going to have to give the information directly to the judge because she ordered it. So I talked to the prosecutor and he said he would forward the information. That makes fucking McLeland a witness in providing false information, lying about what a judge can and cannot do. Why did you give Mr. Forson the impression that you had the ability, the judge's phone number, and could call her immediately? I don't believe I did. Well, when you said, let me call the judge real quick, what impression do you think a person would have? I said I was going to call the judge, yes. Yeah, so what do you think a person's impression of that would be? Mr. Leland, objection, judge, calls for speculation. Question, this guy has the ability to call the judge, right? The court sustained. Question, did you tell him it would ruin things for Mr. Allen? What's that? Did you tell him it would ruin things for Mr. Allen? Yes, I said it would ruin things for everybody, yes. And then you said that it didn't, and I quote, it doesn't bother me any, because it's all bullshit in my opinion. Yes, sir. And then you told him that you had gotten information from Mark Robert. Yes. Who you later learned was Mark Robert Cohen. That is correct. And a K. Smith. I believe I said K. Smith or Kyra, which I was confused because both of those names come up, so I wasn't sure if that was the same person or if it was a different person. But later I identified that person to be actually before that, but I forgot that person was Kyra De Bruin. So you don't believe there's a K. Smith that exists? If there is, there probably is, but I do not know her. I've never spoken with her. Okay. I want to go back to my question about, did you threaten jail? Okay. And on page 14, the question was, didn't you indicate to him that he could go into jail over this? I did. Okay. I did indicate it. I said it's a possibility that a judge could order a contempt. It's what I said in my interview. So yeah, you told him you can go to jail over this. I didn't threaten him. I told him there was a possibility he could. You fucking retard, Holeman. You fucking retard. Question, well, I was just being upfront. Question, your opinion, it's not a threat. Would you admit that some people might take that as a threat? Mr. McLean, objection, Judge. Okay, this calls for speculation. The court sustained. Do you recall Mr. Forson telling you that he wanted to have some consultation before he talked to you? He did. And at first, he simply said consultation. No, he said that he thought he needed to talk to somebody. Right. And then later, he specified attorney. Yes. And you kept talking to him. I did not ask him questions, but I was explaining to him that I was there for and yes, but I didn't ask questions until after I talked to the prosecutor. And then you asked questions? I asked him, I think, one question, and that he's not willing to, maybe a few, I don't know, I have to take a look. Folks, that is in breach of any Miranda rights. Because who he's talking to here is not, Jesus Christ. Yeah. But I asked him if he was not willing to give up the information that I knew he had, and he said, not without a lawyer. I said, that's fine. But had he had invoked counsel before then? Absolutely. And you took a recorded statement from a Miss Ehlenfeld? I did. And she had some pictures. She has some pictures on her phone, yes. Did you see them? I did. Did you connect them to any of the other pictures? Yes. Which ones? I don't recall exactly which ones, but it should be in my report that there were ones that were released by Mr. Forson to Mr. Cohen, and I had her delete them. You had a Jerry Holman. You had a potential witness destroy evidence. How about that? But she told you that she got them from a Tyler Carpenter. Yes. And who is he? I don't know. You can never find him. Nope. What effort did you make? What's that? What effort did you make to find the source of the photos, Tyler Carpenter? At that time, I talked to the prosecutor, and that time we weren't interested in all the people that had him because we'd already located the source and where they came from. If there was only one source, correct? To my knowledge, yes, there was only one source, but that's your belief. Through my investigation, I only located one source. Right. Yeah. But so what you had at that point was your belief that Westerman obtained these pictures without permission, correct? Yes. And that he gave them to one person only, Mr. Forson. Yes. And that Mr. Forson gave them to Mr. Cohen and Mrs. De Bruin. Kyra told you. Kyra? Oh yeah, I'll get there. So you had no interest in knowing who else had them. We had a lot of people that had them, and at that point, nobody was releasing them. So we got the word out that there could be a potential consequence if they did release them. So after talking to the prosecutor, well, in all of your interviews, you told them that the judge was adamant that you find the photos and get them or delete them. Have them deleted, yes. And every person that you did talk to that you identified in the chain, you talked to them about contempt. I talked to them about what? Contempt. Yes, possibility. So from that, you learned that the Tyler Carpenter allegedly had them. No, Kyla De Bruin. No. Who? Tyler Carpenter. Kyla? Tyler Carpenter. I don't know. You just admitted that Mrs. Ehlenfeld told you she got them from a Tyler Carpenter. Are you saying Tyler? Tyler. Yes. Carpenter. Yes. So what was the confusion? I thought you said Kyra Carpenter. Oh, it was Kyra De Bruin. For fuck's sake. And you were charged with getting those photos, but you didn't locate or attempt to locate Tyler, who allegedly had them, because, well, you'd already found out who you believed what the source was, correct? Yes. And you made that decision in conjunction with Mr. McLean. What's that again? You made that decision in conjunction with Mr. McLeland. Yes, I did have a discussion with the prosecutor. And then Miss Ehlenfeld told you about a screenshot somehow connected to a George Rye, who was former law enforcement. Do you recall that? It was a separate investigation, but yes. And what was that investigation? Was that investigation not related to leaks? Correct. That investigation. The information she was giving me was not related to the leaks. What investigation was it related to? Harassment. Harassment? Harassment. And then she told you she had sent them to Christina Mack. She sent the photos to here, or yeah, the photos? Yes. And so did you go talk to Christina Mack? No. So she might still have these photos. She hasn't released them, so she has not released them. If she does, I think most people, well, you haven't seen that she has released them. Correct. You don't know how many people she maybe sent them to. That is correct. And the same with Tyler Carpenter. He might still have them. Yes, sir. And then how many photos do you believe Westerman took? I don't recall exactly what he took. There were some that looked like they were downloaded from another Facebook page. I think he probably took, I'm sorry, without... I have to look at the photos to give a number. What did you say about downloaded from a Facebook page? There were some downloaded from somebody's Facebook page. By Westerman? I don't know. They were just sent to Mr. Forson. I'm sorry. They were sent to Mr. Forson, to Mr. Cohen. I don't know who. Oh, so Mr. Forson maybe downloaded other pictures from Facebook? Could have, yes. And did Mr. Forson, to your knowledge, have other sources for photographs and information on the investigation? To my knowledge, no. So in his conversation with Mr. Cohen, he doesn't talk about other people. Can you repeat that? Who doesn't talk to other people? I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question? You said you reviewed conversation between Forson and Cohen. And so my question was, did Forson talk about other people? Yes. Okay. Did he ever mention Mr. Westerman? Just Mr. Baldwin. He mentioned Mr. Baldwin. Forson? Yes. Mention Mr. Baldwin? Yes, sir. In what respect? In the screenshots of the text messages between them, he said, Mr. Baldwin told me I was going up to Allen County. Mr. Baldwin told me this. Mr. Baldwin told me that the crime scene was going to be. You're saying that Forson claimed that Mr. Baldwin had direct conversation with him. That's what it was alluding to, yes. You have a corroborate on that? I tried to. With what? Phone records? No. I tried to interview Mr. Forson and Mr. Westerman. Right. And you didn't. You had Detective Rector interview Mr. Baldwin. What? What? Can you repeat the question? Yes. You had Detective Rector interview Mr. Baldwin. Yes, I did. For 2 hours. I don't know. I wasn't there. You mean you haven't looked at it? No. And did you say, hey, ask him about Mr. Forson? I don't believe I told or Detective Rector how to conduct this interview, no? Did you get a download or the forensics examination of Mr. Forson's cell phones and electronic devices? Detective Rector did, yes. And so you have reviewed those phone records. Just in discussion with Detective Rector. What you say? Just in discussion with Detective Rector. Oh, any corroboration that Mr. Baldwin ever spoke to Mr. Forson in the phone records? I don't recall, but that'd be a great question for Detective Rector. Mr. Hennessy, don't go anywhere. Now, early on, the discovery of the victims. There was a leak from a search party member, correct? Yes. Objection, Judge. And that, Ms. McLeland. Again, I'm not sure where you're going with this line of questioning. Mr. A.Holeman answered before I could object. But I don't know that this is relevant to what we're discussing today, Judge. I don't think it's relevant to these proceedings. Mr. Hennessy, I'll tie it up, the court. And if you don't, I'll argue why it's relevant. The court, I'll give you a little leeway, but it needs to be tied up. Question, that leak was crime scene photos. Yes, well, no, it wasn't a crime scene yet. Because the search party had found them, so we didn't get to them yet. So it couldn't have been a crime. Are you fucking retarded? Yes, he is. Detective Coleman is actively retarded. Him claiming it wasn't a crime scene yet when 2 missing girls are found dead is ridiculous. Right. It couldn't have been a crime scene yet. It wasn't a crime scene yet because the search party located it. It wasn't a crime scene until we got there and secured the scene. It is always a fucking crime scene, you cunt! And secured the scene. But it was photos of articles that eventually were in the crime scene. Does that make sense to you, sir? Not really. Okay. Because there were photos of the girls? No. And the sticks? I never saw those. You don't believe? Mr. Hennessy, may I have a moment, Judge? You may. Mr. Hennessy, what? I said you may. Question. In your deposition, at page 8, under oath, on March 1st of 2024, you indicated that the leak from the search party member had some text messages and some photos of clothing. Yes. And you're not calling them crime scene photos. Why? Because it was before the police was notified. It wasn't a crime scene until we got there. This is so... Jesus Christ. So you're saying civilians found the girls first? Yes. So then he took pictures before law enforcement got there. That is what I believe, yes. And then he publicized them. Mr. McLean, Judge, I'm going to object at this point. I'm failing to see how he's tying this up and how it's relevant to the contemptuous information that the state has filed and the point of this hearing, Judge. Mr. Hennessy, there were other crime scene photos out there. I mean, he's technically saying it's not a crime scene because law enforcement hasn't shown up. But it was the scene of a crime, and some other guy, way before these defense attorneys was appointed, had photos of clothing and other things. We don't know what. So yes, I think it's relevant because that was out in the public arena long before any photos from Mr. Westerman. The court, these weren't crime scene photos taken by the police? Correct. The court, okay, then it's not a crime scene. What they are trying to tell us is that it cannot have been a crime scene until the cops got there, which is absolutely mind-blowingly stupid. Because with that argument, they cannot backtrack a crime. It might not be officially a crime scene, but it's still a scene of a crime, making it yeah, Slew the Goose said the crime scene exists as soon as the crime happens. Doesn't matter when you find it. Thank you, Slew. Mr. Hennessy, what you say? The court, then it's not a crime scene, not crime scene photos. There may be photos taken by civilians, but it's testifying that they were not there yet. Mr. Hennessy, correct, but it's the court, so they can't be. Mr. Hennessy, picture. Crime scene photos taken by police. Mr. Hennessy, but it's pictures of the scene of the crime. And if you put them out in the public, you're not going to be able to discern when the police showed up, whether these are police photos or other photos, but they will clearly be, to the public, pictures of the scene of the crime. Kaya Salpinko, hello. This is why I don't get out of bed in the morning. Yeah. Mr. McLean, Judge, we're here to discuss the photos that were leaked from the defense. I don't think there's a debate about that. And I've got some additional documents to file that I would ask the court to take judicial notice of. Of course you do. I don't think there's any debate that the crime scene photos that were leaked in this situation came from the defense. The defense has admitted that. No, they have not, you fucktwat. And so now Mr. Hennessy wants to say, well, I'm not sure what he wants to say. He wants to say that there were other photos taken, and since those were leaked, the ones leaked by the defense are no big deal, is what I think he wants to say. Mr. Hennessy, well, Mr. McLean, but I'm not sure. But I don't know how that's relevant to the crime scene photos that were leaked in this instance. The court, how are these relevant? Mr. Hennessy, because they need to establish that Mr. Baldwin and or Mr. Rossi publicly disseminated what they alleged, and it goes to the weight of their evidence that, in fact, there were other sources of photos of the scene of the crime. The court, and I will give it the weight that it deserves, sir. Please proceed. Mr. Hennessy, thank you. Question, and that was investigated by other people? Yes! And the fellow that had the pictures, law enforcement just told him not to do that again? Correct. Nobody reported it to the prosecutor, to your knowledge? To my knowledge, no. But more than likely, they probably discussed it. I'm sorry. That would have been the former prosecutor. Oh, you'd have to ask him. Mr. Hennessy, Judge, that's all I have from Sergeant A.Holeman at this time. The court, Mr. McClellan. Thank you, Judge. Redirect examination of Jerry A.Holeman. Yeah, I keep forgetting. Pink Slime, I know. Hello, Pink Slime. Thank you for being a member for 10 months. Thank you so much. Questions by Mr. McClellan. Lieutenant A.Holeman, Mr. Hennessy asked you if there were any evidence authorizing or evidence showing that Baldwin or Rossi authorized to share anything to anybody. You recall that question? I do. And from looking at the documents of the conversation between Forson and Cohen, were you able to find evidence the leak was ongoing? Yes. Hennessy, objection. Hearsay, it's an opinion, it's a conclusion, it's for the court, not for the police. If they want to pull out evidence, conversation, even though it would be objectionable for hearsay, that would be overruled. If they want to point to specific facts, then it allows them to argue to the court the conclusion that it was ongoing. That would be proper. But to simply ask this detective, did you find, what evidence? Did you just find evidence that the leak was ongoing? Leak from who? To whom? So object, relevancy, a conclusion of law, actually, and an opinion not supported by facts that are currently in evidence or identified to the defense. Mr. McClellan, Judge, the state believes Mr. Hennessy opened the door at this point for us to be able to talk about the contents of the messages. What? He asked if there were any evidence authorizing, or from Mr. Baldwin and Rossi, authorizing to share anything with anybody. He also asked if the detective was able ever confirm, or was it ever able to see if Forson had mentioned Baldwin's name, if he had other sources. And so with those questions, Judge, I believe he opened the door for us to talk about the contents of those messages, and the state would like to do that. Mr. Hennessy, I would agree. If they want to point to something or a number of things within the conversation that allows the court to conclude the leak was ongoing, where they identify sources in the document, it's in there. But they can't just simply say, hey, you read this whole thing and you found out the leak was ongoing. That's not a proper question. Judge, overruled. Mr. McClellan, Judge, I guess I withdraw the question and will just point to specific facts or specific conversation within the exhibit that's been admitted. Of course you do. Of course you do. So even Mr. McClellan, this can hit me in the ass. Question. So, Mr. A.Holeman, I'm going to show you what's been admitted as State Exhibit 6. Now, you testified earlier that this is a conversation between Mr. Forson and Mr. Cohen. And so I'd like you to read on page 1 here, the first message I'm directing you to. Can you read that? Read it to yourself. Are you familiar with that message? Yes. Can you read to the court what it says? It says, what's up? Same rules? Let's get permission to share anything outside of our convo and respect any else. And that message is from who? Who's sending it? Robert Forson. I want to draw your attention to the next page. And this conversation here, you can read to the court. Mr. Hennessy, I'm sorry, what page? Well, they're not marked. Here, I'll show you. Yeah, I know. Okay. Question, and can you read the message to the best of your ability to the court? It should be next weekend. I'm sitting in Franklin with it all. They want me to. And they want me to punch holes in all their stuff and look at it. And that message is from who? Robert Forson. Where is Mr. Baldwin's office located? Franklin. Lieutenant A.Holeman, I ask you to take a look at that message. Can you read that message to the court? Mr. Hennessy, not. Judge, I'm going to object because this particular message is no connection to. I can find it. Because they didn't number these things. The court, the exhibit is in. Mr. Hennessy, what do you say? The court, the exhibit has been admitted. They are allowed to discuss the exhibit that is properly before the court, sir. Mr. Hennessy, well, the court, you may continue. Mr. McClellan, thank you. Can you read that, Mr. A.Holeman? Yes, sir. Defense just got the girl's phone records. No details yet, but they're saying that there is good stuff in there, or the stuff good on there. We'll go to the next page. Can you read that message? This one, it's the same one. Okay, so same message were recorded. Who is that message from? Rob Forson. And so Forson is saying that the defense just got the phone records of the girls. Yes. Okay, I'll draw your attention to this message. Can you please read it into the record? Purdue professor said the exact opposite of what A.Holeman said. Andy has the audio from it. Mr. Hennessy, I'm sorry, The Purdue professor, who is still there, mind you, consulted with the Harvard professor and said, yes, those are runes. Yes, it's a cult-related stuff. So digest that for a second in the grand scheme of the police work. And who is that message from? There's more. You want me to? Go ahead, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm a slow reader. That's okay. Joshua said she's going to set a suppression hearing, but Andy's looking for clarity on it. That means Frank's hearing, or what she's meaning for sure. We shall see. I'll watch that now. That's from Robert Forson. And what is the date of that message? October 2nd. Mr. Hennessy, may I see that page? Mr. McLeland, sure. Thank you. Mr. Hennessy, thank you. Again, Lieutenant A.Holeman, when was the date of that message? October 2nd. And when did you conduct the interview of Professor Turco? In September. I don't remember the exact, but then I turned it over a couple of days before this to you. Did you ever release that interview to the public? No. No, but Mr. A.Holeman, there was already information that you had talked to the Purdue professor, and then the defense found out that you lied about what you talked to him about. So all of that, Jesus Christ. Did you release it to anybody but my office? No. And are you familiar with somebody involved in this case that goes by Andy? Yes. Who? Mr. Baldwin. What's Mr. Baldwin's first name? Andy. Okay. Mr. Hennessy, Your Honor, may I go over there so I can read those, what they're going to show you, so Mr. McLeland doesn't have to come back and forth? The court, certainly. What do you say? Certainly. Thank you. Lieutenant A.Holeman, I'll direct your attention to this. Can you read this message? I thought about a way I could show you the crime scene without sending the pics. Maybe photograph something with the pics on my phone in the photo. And who's that message from? Robert Forson, who is directed to Mr. Cohen. Mr. Rossi, Judge, I couldn't hear who he said it was directed to. Could you please have him repeat that? It's a little tough to hear back here. Sure, but I'll ask the question again. Who was the message from? Robert Forson. And who was it directed to? Robert or Mark Cohen. Mr. Rossi, thank you. Will you read this message, please? Facebook, you have no worries about it. It's technically crime scene and a big piece of current evidence. Who is that message from? Robert Forson. And then, could you read this series of messages, please? Go side by side with the Barbara one. Make it a poll. Ask F, Rune, Spatter, other. 4 options there. Tell them to list their other in the comments. I'll also let them argue it if it's actual F. That's from Mr. Forson to Mr. Cohen. Folks, what is happening here is he worked for Mr. Baldwin. They are allowed to discuss the evidence. Baldwin did not know that this person shared the information with others, and they certainly did not authorize the taking of pictures. So throughout your history as a law enforcement officer, you've had an opportunity to investigate several crimes. Is that correct? Yes. And you had an opportunity to read those messages and go over the entirety of State's Exhibit 6. Is that correct? Yes. From your investigation, what conclusion did you draw from that information? Mr. Hennessy, objection, improper question. It's not for the witness to conclude, and it's summing up. The court overruled it. Because of course she does. Mr. McLeland, I rephrase that question, Judge. That's fine. Overruled. Why are you trying to rephrase question when she's overruling the objections? Is it because you know it's improper and you might try to correct the judge? Lieutenant A.Holeman, were you able to conclude from those messages that the leak was ongoing? Yes. Mr. Hennessy, There's no difference than the very first time he tried to do it, and the court sustained the objection. And then he just backed it up and slipped it right in by me. And Mr. Holman answered like really, really quick. So I object. Ask that it be stricken. Sustained. I'm sorry, sustained. Stricken? Certainly. Thank you. Everybody has to remind the judge on what her previous rulings were. Lieutenant Holman, the messages you read, do they correspond with events that were happening during the course of your investigation? Yes. Meaning information was being leaked? Yes. To your knowledge that you know of, did anybody else besides defense have that information? Not to my knowledge, no. Specifically the Professor Turco interview that you had done days before it was leaked by Forson. That was the second lying sack of human garbage. Yes. And Forson is directing Cohen to push this stuff out to the public. Is that correct? Yes, he is. And from the text messages, why is he? What is the purpose of pushing it out to the public? To get their opinion. Mr. Hennessy, to do what? To get the public's opinion. Mr. McLennan, I don't have any other questions, Judge. Thank you. The court, Mr. Hennessy. Cross-examination. Question. Mr. McLennan started to say, and he said, quote, we're going to go through these individual pages to establish a connection between Mr. Baldwin and Mr. Forson. You remember that? Yes. And so, Mr. Forson, first off, do you know anything about Mr. Forson's credibility? No. Did you know that he pretended to be a lawyer? I have no proof of that, no. Well, Mr. Cohen told you. He said Mr. Cohen said he thought he was. No, he said he represented himself as an attorney. As an attorney, yeah. What do you say? I think you're correct, yeah. Okay, so was he an attorney? No. So there's a false statement, correct? Yes. At least one false statement from Forson. Yes. And then he said he's sitting in Franklin, but doesn't say where. Correct. And do you know where? If Mr. Westerman had connections to Franklin. Do I know if Mr. Westerman has connections to Franklin? Other than Mr. Baldwin? Correct. No. Do you know if his girlfriend lives in Franklin? At the time, I did not know that, no. Do you know if Mr. Forson would meet Mr. Westerman in Franklin? No. And then you said the defense got the phone records, correct? You read that part? I read that, yes. Didn't say that. That had no reference to Mr. Baldwin, did it? I don't think so, no. And then he said, with regard to the Professor Turco, he said, Andy has the audio. Yes. How do you know Westerman didn't tell him Andy has the audio? More than likely that was happened, yes. So that's not necessarily direct contact between Mr. Forson and Mr. Baldwin. No. And then, shows the crime scene. There was no reference to Mr. Baldwin in that one you read, correct? Correct. And then the Facebook, no worries, crime scene, big piece of evidence. There was no reference to Mr. Baldwin. Correct. And then, so there's only one time Forson says Andy, and he doesn't attribute it to Mr. Baldwin. It could have been Mr. Westerman. That we discussed, yes, sir. That'd be what? There's actually more references to Andy in there, but we didn't go over them. But nothing Forson saying, hey, I'm with Mr. Baldwin. No. Nothing saying, hey, I talked to Andy directly. I'd have to check on that. Okay. And then you read one about a Barbara. And you're familiar with Barbara McDonald having leaked Professor Turco's report? No, I'm not. Did you not investigate that? No. And so you say, Forson, I'm sorry, you say it was in your opinion or belief that somebody wanted to release this stuff to get the public's opinion, right? That's what he said, yes. Who? Was that Cohen or Forson? It was Forson. Okay, so he never said, I want to, you should put this out there to damage the prosecution. Did I what? What? Could you please repeat the question? So he never said, put this out there to damage the prosecution. Who? Forson, the same guy who just wanted to get the public's opinion. Not to my knowledge, no. Mr. Hennessy, okay, that's all I have for now. Thank you, Lieutenant. You may step down. Thank you.